Suppose you've got a pizza and you cut it into 6 equal slices and you get to keep 2 of them. But what if you'd cut that same pizza into 8 equal slices instead and kept 3 of those? Here's the question, which one gives you more pizza? 2 slices out of 6 or 3 slices out of 8? Have a proper think because the answer isn't as obvious as it looks. And this, right here, is fractions. A fraction is just what happens when we take one whole thing and split it into smaller equal parts. So in this video, we're going to learn how to work with them properly. Hi, welcome to my exam revision. In this video, we'll be talking about fractions. This lesson is divided into 5 sections. In the first 4 sections, we'll cover addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of fractions. And in the last section, we'll discuss how to do word problems related to fractions.
I've added timestamps in the timeline below, so if you'd like to skip ahead to a particular section, you can do that easily. I've also included detailed notes in the description. If you'd like to go through the steps more carefully in your own time, you can click the link and follow everything step by step.
Now let's get started. So let's start by understanding what a fraction actually is. Every fraction is made up of 2 parts, a numerator and a denominator. The numerator is the number on top and it tells you how many parts you've taken. The denominator is the number on the bottom and it tells you the total number of parts altogether. Let's go back to the example of pizza that we discussed in the beginning of the video. The pizza was cut into 8 equal slices. That 8, the total number of slices, is the denominator, the bottom number. Now suppose you take 3 of those slices. That 3, how many you've actually got, is the numerator, the top number. So you've taken 3/8 of the pizza. Let's do one more example. Suppose there's a row of 10 seats. 3 of those seats get taken by your friends who arrive. The question is, what fraction of the seats are still empty? Well, if 3 out of the 10 seats are taken, then the number left empty is 10 take away 3, which is 7. And the total number of seats is still 10. So the fraction of seats remaining is 7/10. Now the most important things you'll do with fractions are adding and subtracting them. So let's start there. But before we add or subtract anything, there's one rule you absolutely must understand. To add or subtract 2 fractions, their bottom numbers must be the same. That's the big rule. For example, if you wanted to add 3/7 plus 5/6, you can't do it straight away because the bottom numbers 7 and 6 are different. We'd have to make them match first. We'll come back to how we do that in a moment. So let's begin with the easy case where the bottom numbers are already the same. When that happens, adding is lovely and simple. You just add the top numbers together and you leave the bottom number exactly as it is. Let's try one. We've got 1/5 plus 2/5. Both bottoms are 5, so they already match. So we just add the tops. 1 plus 2 makes 3. The answer is 3/5. Notice the bottom stayed as 5 the whole time. We didn't add the bottoms. And here's why we leave the bottom alone. Picture a pizza cut into 5 equal slices. Every slice is 1/5. If you eat 1 slice and then 2 more, you've eaten 3 slices out of 5. The slices didn't get bigger or smaller just because you ate more of them. They're still fifths. That's why the bottom number never changes when you add. Now let's look at the harder case where the bottom numbers are different. This is the bit we said we'd come back to. Let's try 1/4 plus 1/2. The bottoms here are 4 and 2 and they don't match. So we can't add yet. And this is exactly where lots of people rush and get it wrong. So let's go slowly. Before we can add, we have to make the bottom numbers the same. So how do we make them match? We find a number that both bottoms go into. Our bottoms are 4 and 2. Both 4 and 2 go nicely into 4. So let's turn both fractions into something over 4. 1/4 already has a 4 on the bottom, so we leave it alone. But 1/2 needs changing. To turn its bottom from 2 into 4, we multiply the bottom by 2. And here's the golden rule you must never forget. Whatever you do to the bottom, you must also do to the top. So we multiply the top by 2 as well. That turns 1/2 into 2/4. Now both fractions have a 4 on the bottom. 1/4 plus 2/4. The bottoms match, so we just add the tops. 1 plus 2 makes 3. The answer is 3/4. Nice and tidy. Now let's move on to subtracting, which means taking away. And here's some good news. Subtracting works in exactly the same way as adding. The only difference is you take away instead of add. So that big rule still applies. The bottom numbers must be the same before you can do anything. Let's start with the easy case where the bottoms already match. We've got 9 quarters, take away 2 quarters. Both bottoms are 4, so they are the same. We just take away the tops. 9 take away 2 leaves 7. The answer is 7 quarters. The bottom stayed as 4, exactly like before. Now the harder case where the bottoms are different. Let's try 3/8 take away 1/3. The bottoms are 8 and 3 and they don't match, so we have to make them match first, just like we did with adding. We need a number that both 8 and 3 go into. The smallest one is 24, so we turn both fractions into something over 24. For 3/8, we multiply the top and bottom by 3, which gives 9 24ths. For 1/3, we multiply the top and bottom by 8, which gives 8 24ths. Now the bottoms match, so we take away the tops. 9 take away 8 leaves 1. The answer is 1/24. Same trick as adding. Make the bottoms match first, then do the sum on the tops. Before we move to the next section, I want to quickly mention something that will help you practice this topic properly. On my website, My Exam Revision, I have created a full worksheet for each topic. It starts with basic foundation questions, then moves on to harder multi-step problems, and finally proper past paper exam style questions, all with step-by-step solutions. I've also built an AI version of myself based on my 14 years of teaching experience in GCSE Maths, A-level Maths and further Maths. You can check the step-by-step solutions, and if you get stuck, you can simply take a photo and upload your working. It will analyze each step, highlight where you went wrong, and even if your final answer is correct, it will still check your method thoroughly. If you're serious about improving your grades, I highly recommend trying it. The link is in the description. Now let's move on to multiplying, and here's the good news. Multiplying is actually easier than adding and taking away. Why? Because with multiplying, you do not need to make the bottoms match. It means you multiply the two top numbers together to make your new top, and you multiply the two bottom numbers together to make your new bottom. Let's try 2/3 times 6/5. First the tops. 2 times 6 makes 12. Then the bottoms. 3 times 5 makes 15. So we get 12 15ths. But we're not quite done because we can make this simpler. Both 12 and 15 can be divided by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4 and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So 12 15ths becomes 4/5, and that's our answer. Remember, always check at the end whether your fraction can be made simpler. If you have any doubts in how to simplify fraction, I have included them in the notes in the description. Now let's move on to the last operation, dividing fractions. To divide fractions, we follow 3 steps: keep, flip, and multiply. Here is what each step means. First, keep the first fraction exactly as it is. Second, flip the second fraction upside down so its top number and bottom number swap places. Third, change the divide sign into a multiply sign. Once you have done this, you simply multiply the fractions, which you already know how to do. Let's work through an example. 1/2 divided by 1/4. Step 1. Keep the first fraction, so 1/2 stays as 1/2. Step 2. Flip the second fraction, so 1/4 becomes 4/1. Step 3. Change the divide sign to a multiply sign. Now we have 1/2 multiplied by 4/1. Multiply the top numbers. 1 times 4 makes 4. Multiply the bottom numbers. 2 times 1 makes 2. So we get 4/2, which is the same as 4 divided by 2, and that equals 2. So 1/2 divided by 1/4 is 2. Now that we have covered all 4 operations, let's use them to solve 2 word problems. Word problems describe a real situation, and your job is to work out which operation to use. Here is the first one. Emma baked 2/3 of a tray of cookies in the morning and 1/4 of a tray in the afternoon. How much of a full tray did she bake in total? The word total tells us we need to add, so we add 2/3 and 1/4. The bottom numbers are 3 and 4 and they are different, so we must make them the same first. The smallest number that both 3 and 4 go into is 12. We convert 2/3 into 8/12 by multiplying the top and bottom by 4. We convert 1/4 into 3/12 by multiplying the top and bottom by 3. Now the bottom numbers match, so we add the top numbers. 8 plus 3 makes 11. So Emma baked 11/12 of a tray in total. Here is the second problem. A baker has 3/4 of a kilogram of flour. Each small loaf needs 1/8 of a kilogram of flour. How many loaves can the baker make? We are splitting a total amount into smaller equal portions, so this is a division problem. We divide 3/4 by 1/8. Using our 3 steps, keep 3/4, flip 1/8 to make 8/1 and change the divide sign to a multiply sign. So we have 3/4 multiplied by 8/1. Multiply the top numbers. 3 times 8 makes 24. Multiply the bottom numbers. 4 times 1 makes 4. This gives 24/4, which is 24 divided by 4, and that equals 6. So the baker can make 6 loaves. So, to summarize, for addition and subtraction, the bottom numbers must be the same. Then you add or subtract the top numbers. For multiplication, you multiply straight across, top by top and bottom by bottom. For division, you keep, flip and multiply. If you understand these rules, you can solve any fraction question. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. We will be bringing out more educational content like this, so make sure to follow the channel. Also, don't forget to try the questions on the worksheet linked in the description. Thank you for watching.